Well, hello everybody, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome along. How are you all doing this evening? My name is Toby and you are back once again for some Gran Turismo Sport action. We are a little bit late for qualifying, I do apologise for that. The only reason that being is we had some connection issues with players joining the lobby. My name is Toby. Now, I do apologise again for the microphone quality. That's something you're going to notice as well. We're having a few issues with the studio microphone. Not as bad as you might think. Nothing too dire, but I'm sure we'll get over it. Now, I am just going to quickly do something on the headphones to make this slightly more bearable, and then we'll get underway. Now, what I'm doing is I'm just turning the microphone down on the controller. Now, bear with us just a moment, qualifying will be getting underway shortly. Okay, brilliant, that is us ready to go, so let's get these boys on the track for qualifying. For the British Grand Prix. The last time Formula 1 was here was 1986, and we have a very fast person here called Ayrton Spencer. We have a very fast 80s Williams-inspired livery here too, but we have a repeat of that fateful day. Let's find out. Okie dokie, so the issue with the microphone that will clear up while qualifying is getting loaded is I've done some cable management to my setup and I've tied the wire too tight so it doesn't actually reach over here anymore, so I'll need to figure out a way around that, but that's fine, we can make do with it for one evening. It's not something I had foreseen, so I do apologise for that. First car on the track is Ollie Polly, so he's the man we're going to be riding on board with for this installation lap. Now, what you can see is you can see a lot of cars and not too much room between them. You can see how small this track is. Brands Hatch is so fast. It's absolutely ridiculous in terms of how fast it can go. And in these cars, these guys have had to learn to drive in a completely different way to be able to get the fastest lap times and everything that they need to get out of here. So with these guys, obviously, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be desperately trying to find some space because dirty air, as we've seen so many times this season, we've only been racing for 2 weeks, but we've already seen dirty air is a massive factor, and these guys will need to spread out to all get qualified and give themselves some space because dirty air is going to create understeer, it's going to make the tyres wear out quicker, and it'll make them struggle a little bit. So the super soft tyres are back for this weekend, which means these guys, because they basically need as much grip as they can get at this particular circuit, they've been permitted super softs, which means it's going to be a flat out race in terms of speed. Now, those guys will be looking to take full advantage of that, I'm sure, as Ollie Polly is our first man to start flying lap, and we're going to see lap times absolutely tumble as we get ready for 15 crazy minutes of qualifying, and it is just over a minute lap time here. We've seen 108 so far. We've even seen Ayrton Spencer put in a 1.7. Oh, and Ollie Polly straight away having some issues on his first flying lap. What you can see there was just getting in a little bit too hot. There you go, and that's all it takes, just getting a little bit too eager on that throttle, and that caused him to just get all out of shape, lose himself time. He's definitely going to need to go again. Now, that has a domino effect because Lenny TBD is now within this dirty air zone of Ollie Polly because he's got too close, you see. This is why you need to give yourself space because now he is going to be struggling and his lap is going to suffer because of Ollie's mistake. Ayrton Spencer's the man who's done it, right? Look how clear he is. Now, Dougie Afroman and Avanzo 7 are both on hot laps, way too close to each other. Now, I'm not sure why. It was actually Avanzo 7 preaching to the choir, saying that people need to remember to spread out because he was a victim of that qualifying last time out. Ollie Polly is the first one to set a lap times, 109.6. They'll have to beat. Gareth Lennon is unable to do anything about it. Ayrton Spencer immediately throws the hammer down with a 108.7. Then behind him, Avanzo 7 goes third. Philly Wolf fourth. Dougie Afroman, in fifth. Lenny TBD sixth. Moju, tonight's wild card, will slot it in P7, dead in the middle. Here comes the first lap time from Sevens. He will put it in P8. Next is Skull TBD. He will immediately put it in P7 and knock those both down. Sonics has abandoned his lap and gone back for fresh tyres immediately. Russell up to the line, looking like the slowest time so far. Indeed, it is. Schettefeld will be the last one to come up to the line. It's not looking like a very good time, so probably just an extra warm-up lap to get some space for him. So I can see we've got some people in the chat already, a whole 5 people. Beautiful. Hello guys, how are you all doing? Don't be afraid to voice up in the chat, let us know how we're all getting along. There's another mistake there for Ollie Polly. And it was a bit of a big one that time. We'll see what happens. So he's already lost it. We didn't go far enough back actually. Can we go any further? Will it let us? I don't think it will. So here we go then. We was just coming up into that corner. We can see we're looking for the apex, and then we just get on that outside curb, throws us off, and we're going for a deep old trip into the sand dunes. So Ollie Polly, again, still manages to hold on in second, despite making 2 mistakes on his lap, so definitely space to be found for him. Pace to be found for him, rather. Panzer 7 immediately backs off, gets in there, wants some new tyres because they're dirty. I'm assuming Schechter first done a great lap, put himself up into P4. Philly Wool is in a solid position of 5th, actually. Dougie Afroman in P6. Lenny TBD 7 and his teammate behind him, Skull TBD, in 8th. Moju is on a personal best as a 7s, I believe. Will 7s improve? No, he weren't. Definitely not a personal best. My apologies. Russell does a 116. It's an improvement. It beats his teammate, puts him into P10. Sonics is on his first lap of the session so far. Yet to set a time. Pushing hard, looking to improve on his position in the championship. Is currently tied second with Chiller Killer, who is not attending today, so he will be looking to take full advantage of that and get as many points as he can for when Chiller returns. Lenny TBD sets a time of a 1:10.5. Sonics immediately with a big mistake that we've seen so many times already, just goes for a spin, and you can see exactly what happened there. I don't really need to explain that one to you. Just got on that outside grass and sent himself spinning, but he's putting himself under pressure early here if he wants to get some points today. King Macca 14 in the chat says, hey everyone, let's go for 3 W's in a row, Spenner. He's on tipping Ayrton Spenner for the hat trick. We've received a friend request from one of the drivers who I'm pretty sure we've already accepted. I mean, I don't know why I'm checking that because he's already in the lobby and everything. That's an interesting one. Sonic's already voicing his disappointment with his lap time. He'll need to go again. Frustration getting to that man early. Can't be losing your cool in qualifying. It's way too early to lose your cool because you're just going to drive hot-headed for the rest of the weekend and ruin it for yourself and others. Now, Avanza 7 in a strong position. His strongest position has been qualifying this season. Qualified 3rd last time out in Fuji, but immediately threw it all away into Turn 1. He'll be hoping he doesn't do that again. But he needs to be a little bit more tidy on his laps. Lenny TBD actually takes 3rd place away now. Great lap from the Northern Irishman. Avanza 7 will look to hopefully dethrone that. That's exactly what he'll be hoping anyway. Come through Dingle Dell, really throwing it around now. 4/10 of an improvement. This is enough to beat Gareth. All he needs to do is hold it together in the final corner, and he can reclaim 3rd here. Around the final corner we come, then Avanza 7 up to the line. Is he going to be able to take back P3 from Lenny TBD? Yes, he is, in a big way. He's going to take P2 off Ollie Polly as well, who is also experiencing issues. Now, this is such a shame for Ollie Polly because he has so much pace, but he just can't stop spinning. You can see there's a lot of action going on in the background. It looks like Lenny TBD was slightly impeded there by the overboost car, was it? Let's find out. So what was happening here is we're coming down the back straight. Was we impeded? We can see there's an overboost car who's gone off all by himself by the looks of things. Does he unsafe rejoin? No, he doesn't. Lenny just distracted and makes a mistake by himself, so he can't really blame anyone else on that one. So Lenny TBD pits. Sonics has put himself up into P5. Good lap time from the American, but he'll want to aim for a bit more than that, I'm sure. Just checking, because Mr. Ralph was here. He's somewhere disappeared now. I don't know where he's gone. Not sure what's happened to Mr. Ralph on this occasion. He's disappeared out of the lobby and such. But 7 minutes to go now in this qualifying session. Sonic sets a new lap time of 109.8, puts him up into P4. Ayrton Spenner on a good lap here. Coming up into Dingle there. Let's watch Random Masters do it. Beautiful. Just gets back on the throttle. He's actually massively down on his time. So it looks like he scrubbed the back end of that lap off to get ready to set himself up for another one. So Ollie looks like he's on a pretty poor lap time as well at the moment. Sonic's isn't that far behind, so Ollie really needs to stop spinning and get on with the task at hand. He wants to keep that podium. Lenny looks like a dark horse here today. He looks quite fast, actually. Definitely one to watch out for. Definitely someone who is a good performer at this circuit. This lap time is good enough to take P3 back so far. Gets a little bit all over the place as he mounts that curb in search for any time possible. Still 3 temps up. Good lap time from him so far. But Josh Martin in the chat that says broom broom. That's a great way of describing proceedings here today, Josh. Great description. You should be a fully fledged commentator. Yeah. You may remember Josh Martin from his many, many commentaries on the ISR AIC series. How are you doing, Josh? Any thoughts ahead of the race? Anyone you're liking the look of? How are you doing, buddy? King Macca says, where is Skull? That is a good question. Skull is in 10th position. Really having a tough time, as you can see, as he goes for a spin through Dingledale. So good call there, Macca. You should be the camera director. You made a good call on that one. And there is Lenny. Big lap time. Takes P2. We said it was a good enough lap time for P3. He says, sod that. I'm going P2. Takes that away from Avanzo 7. So Avanzo now will have to find the time, which is something he's not currently able to do. We have yellow flags in Dingledale. I think that's actually Schecterfire having an issue in there. So the yellow flag's a bit irrelevant on that particular occasion. Philly Bull will be the next across the line. Will he improve from his 1:11? Yes, he will. A 1:10.6 pumps himself up into 8th position. Moju, the wild card, having a little bit of an issue through there. That's fine. He'll keep going and get another attempt. This is a good lap from Skull TBD. He's half a second up on his previous best. His lap time isn't quite good enough to beat Moju yet, but he'll certainly want to. Avanza 7 holds on for P3. Goldie TBD is out on a warm-up lap. Sonic's on a flyer. Dougie Afroman looking to set himself up for a flyer. Skull TBD is the man we remain with. Up to Dingledale we come then. So we want to throw it in and not let it slide over to the left too much, because that's what's causing so many of these guys to spin. It's a good lap time. It's an improvement for him. But again, he needs to try find about 2 temps in this final corner if he wants to dethrone Moju for that 9th place. There's definitely an improvement for Skull up to the line. P11, no, sorry, P10. So it is an improvement. Milliseconds off Moju. He'll be wanting to go faster than that. Philly Wool sets a lap time that is good enough for P7. Knocks Dougie Afroman, who's also on a personal best, however. Ollie Polly is still not on a fast lap. Still setting himself up, it seems like. Just trying to burn some fuel at this point. Avanza 7 now responds and takes P2 away from Lenny when unable, for some reason, to ride on board with him. There we go. Now it's letting us. Brilliant. So little time between Lenny and Avanza. That's definitely going to be a battle to watch. Not that much time between Ollie Polly and Sonic's behind them either. So it's still all to play for. Dougie Afroman does take P7 back with a 1:10.1. And look how close he is to Schecterfire. He can really find that time. If he just pushes a little bit harder on his next lap, he will easily find that time. Schecterfire will know if this time wants to go faster himself. Speaking of going faster, it is Sonic's. Currently about half a second up on his time. This lap time is good enough to challenge for P3. He's a little bit behind the time he needs at the moment, but he just needs to keep on pushing, and he will find that time in Sector 3. Riding on board with the American, he's now in the time he needs, so this is a good lap from him. He just needs to get the last corner all said and done, and he will take P3 on this lap. Chucks it in, hopes the car will grip. It says, okay, I'll grip a little bit, not exactly how you want me to, but we'll do it. Up to the line now is Sonic's going to be able to take P3. No, misses out, loses a tenth in the last corner, and actually falls back into P4. Lenny TBD still gunning, sorry, for that P2. Avanza 7 on for a very good qualifying result if he can stay where he is. Sonic's, again, though, is still going, and is already on a personal best. Schecterfire is out on a lap as well. I'm not sure if it's a personal best, but he has got some traffic of Ollie Polly behind, putting the pressure on. Definitely not a personal best. Looks like a warm-up lap. Dougie Aframan now will come over to the last corner. Take P6. Good improvement. A 10th improvement, sorry. We said he only needed a little bit of time to beat Schechter. That's exactly what he's done, but he'll want to find himself a little bit more of a safety buffer than that. School TBD in the meantime has managed to beat Moju, and Sevens has actually managed to beat Moju as well. So this could be the first time this season Sevens does not qualify on the back row of the grid. Skull TBD goes for a spin all the while, as Lenny TBD pits for some new tyres to go ahead and make one final charge for that second place. Sonics was on a personal best, but it looks like he may have lost it somewhere. We'll see if we can find out what happened. So it looks like he's just had a spin. I'm just trying to find out what happened there. Looks like it happened a bit too far back, but it just looks like he's dropped it on his own, really, doesn't it? And he's had quite an issue getting back on the track again. But he's still got plenty of time left. I say that, they've only got a minute left, so these guys might get one lap in, obviously, to get some time to complete the final laps. Once all is said and done, sorry. But people like Lenny TBD will need to get a move on if they want to get to the end of the lap to be able to have that final attempt. Sevens now puts in, arguably, he gets another attempt. Oh no, that's not how you want your final attempt to go. That's a big accident for Sevens, just getting on the gravel when he's on for potentially his best qualifying so far this season. Absolute heartbreak for him. And the replay hasn't worked the way we were hoping it to, but that's not how you want your final attempt to go. You want your final attempt to go a little bit something like this, hopefully. No, Avanzo 7 is so close to his personal best, though. He can still find this time in Sector 3. I don't know if the same can be said for Lenny, because he's still on the outlap. Lenny's not actually going to make it, so I don't think Lenny is going to be able to. No, Lenny's challenge is halted in his track. Someone's time that isn't, though, is Ollie Polly. Massive lap time from him. He will stick it in the P2 position to potentially be... Oh, no! Avanzo 7! Huge spin on his final qualifying attempt for P2, gets on the grass on the outside, and just listen to that agony. That's not how he wanted that session to go, definitely not. Ayrton Spenner looking like pole position is all but his today. Will come around the final corner. Can he improve on his personal best? He's set a 107.8 up to the line. He will not improve, but it will be pole position, because I don't think anyone else has it in them to challenge at the moment. Dougie Aframan's on a lap. What can he do? Needs to beat a 1:10 dead to beat his previous best, and he's not going to do it. He will remain P6. Anybody else on a lap? Doesn't look like it, apart from a spinning Russell, who on his final attempt throws it away. His teammate Sevens, however, gets his best qualifying of the season so far. So this will be the first race this season. Both the overboosts are not on the back row. It's a small improvement, but it's an improvement. Ayrton Spenner then takes a monumental pole position. Believe it or not, that's his first pole position of the season. And he will lead the TBD driver of Ollie Polly to make it a TBD 1-2 on the qualifying grid here at Brands Hatch. Could Team Black Diamond be on for a 1-2 today? Followed by Diamante Nero. Avanzo 7 heads Lenny TBD, who heads Sonics. Dougie Aframan behind them for ART, then Diamante Nero once again with Schechter. Philly Wool will bring home the Philliams in 8th place. Sevens, with his best qualifying result, will bring it home in P9. And Skull TBD 10th, Moju 11th, and Russell Avant 12th. So here we are then. The chaos is about to ensue as we get ready for 40 laps of the British Grand Prix. I'm not sure I'm ready for this. I'm not sure my throat is ready for this. But Team Black Diamond will lead the way with a 1-2. Everyone else will try follow and try ruin their party today. But here we go. 40 absolute grueling laps. Beginning 3, 2, 1. Lights out, and away we go. Who gets the best start out of the two? Ayrton Spenner looks like he's having major issues. I'll tell you who is. Russell Avant having a major issue in the background already. Ayrton Spenner leads into turn 1. Lenny TBD getting forced out wide, it seemed, there by a poor starting Ollie. We can see Sevens immediately has a huge accident. Around he goes. It looks like someone else. Lenny TBD was caught in that as well. As we continue with the first lap, Moju the wild card going down the inside of Dougie Aframan there, up into P6. Great start for him. Ayrton Spencer leads from Ollie Polly, Avanza 7 third, Diamante Nero in 3 and 4. Great start for Schechter, he's up into P4 already. Sonics will remain in P5, Moju 6th, chased closely down by Dougie Afroman behind there. They're probably the 2 closest cars on the grid as we come through into the super fast right-hander for the first time. You can hear all them cars screaming along as we can see Lenny and Russell. Oh, what happened there? Philly Wool's gone spinning as well. Oh dear, chaotic start in the mid-pack. Ayrton Spencer leads quite comfortably from Ollie Polly. Avanza 7 being hunted down by his teammate of Schechter. Sonics will follow that battle as well. Dougie Afroman in P6. Then it's Skull TBD P7. Then Moju P8. Lenny P9. Sevens P10. Philly and Russell will do battle at the back of the grid. So we've said that it's been looking good so far for Diamante Nero. Great start by them. But are we about to see an inner team battle here? Riding on board with Schechter for now as he searches for a way past Avanza 7. Nothing doing on this occasion. He'll have to remain behind. Brands Hatch is a very tricky place to overtake. He'll have to pick his move very, very wisely. We believe the undercut is going to be super powerful here today. So that's definitely something that we're going to be watching out for. Sonics is gaining on this pack a little bit now in the battle for P5. Of course, this man's tied for second in the standings. He's not invincible in second though. Just because the man he's tied with isn't here doesn't mean someone else can't rob it from him. He gets such a run on Schechter, just holds on to it. Almost lost it all by himself. Flashes his lights. Maybe he feels a little bit hard done there by Phil. Flashing his lights saying, hey buddy, I'm not too proud of that move. As we come round to complete lap number 2. Ayrton Spencer leads from Ollie Polly. Team Light Diamond fairly in control of this race. Avanza 7 4th, Diamante Nero 3rd and 4th. And then Sonics follows them in 5th. Dougie Afroman's had a decent start up to P6. Skull TBD good start up to 7th. Moju now being hunted down by an absolutely raging Lenny TBD, I'm sure. Anything he can do on the wildcard on this occasion would be... Oh, he's got a good run though. This is a good run. You can probably set him up for turn 4. No, instead he tries it for turn 3. And he's going to cost himself all that time. And he's going to have to work his way back up to Moju to have another crack at that one. Oh, no, and he's going deep. Big mistakes here for Lenny TBD. Having a torrid time after his best qualifying of the season. It's all gone to pot. Same can be said for Overboost, really. Oh, no, we've missed something. What has happened? Did we see what happened between Schechter? No, it just looks like Avanza literally just got a good rhythm and quite simply pulled away from Schechter. So there's not really been a mistake anywhere. Just Avanza 7 is absolutely flying. That was almost a big mistake though for Schechter as he gets all loose in 4th place. Ayrton Spencer fully in control of this Grand Prix, looking more dominant every single time we see him on the track. Ollie Polly up in P2. Is on for his best result of the season if he can hold off this, I have to say, quite an impressive charge from Avanza 7 here at the moment. Really getting the power down and really catching up with Ollie Polly. Now, we've had one crazy battle at least every round this season, and I'm getting the feeling it might be Avanza 7 for the 3rd time getting involved in that battle, this time with Ollie Polly. We'll see how that unfolds, but Sonics is now gaining quite massively on Schechter. So this could all be the battle as well. Schechter gets on the sand a little bit. These guys are pushing to the absolute limit and beyond. All it takes is 1% over the limit at this track, and you are absolutely donezo. But Sonic's looking very feisty indeed. I was just checking there to make sure everything's all right, because I thought I saw Sailor go off, but it just looks like a little bit of a connection issue between the two on that particular occasion. Sonic's still trying to chase down Schechter here. Into turn 1 we go. Schechter getting a little bit loose. Sonic's looking like he's firmly closing that gap. Lenny TBD still trying to find a way past Moju here. Stuck in this dirty air. And that's allowing Philly Wool really to close back up. So we were saying dirty air is probably going to be the most important thing to know. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, really getting close between Lenny and Moju there. Moju getting very fed up and being stuck behind him. Flashes his lights, probably to say, look, mate, sorry about that one. Just couldn't stop. But Moju gets away, actually gets a bit of it. And now Lenny TBD is going to be under pressure from Philly Wool as we come through turn 4 onto the longest straight on the circuit. Is there anything that Philly Wool will be able to do? Running in very close proximity. Moju still looking a little bit worrying. Oh, he cuts the corner. That could be potentially a penalty for Moju, but it looks like he's got away with it on this occasion. But he does look all kinds of out of shape, actually. He really looks nervous. Lenny TBD tried to do something magical there, but really ran out of road. Now he's going to be under pressure from Philly Wool once again as we head into the final corner. It looks like we potentially have quite a big battle here. Yeah, Vanza 7's really catching Ollie Polly, actually. So Vanza 7's really on a flyer at the moment. Sonics has dropped off Schecter. Oh, Lenny TBD. What happened there? He was contact. We did just miss that. So this was the run coming into turn number 1. I don't know if something happened to Moju, but coming into turn 1, Lenny, just gets it all kinds of wrong. Manages to hold on to it, but he concedes a position. Skull TBD had a bit of an issue as well, but he concedes that position now to Philly Wool. Just as we say that, we've missed something happening here. Ollie Polly's under all kinds of pressure, but something definitely happened to him for him to lose that place. Avanza 7 actually started off by making the mistake, but somehow Ollie even made an even bigger mistake, and that allowed Avanza 7 to actually benefit from making a mistake, and he gets himself up into P2. Ollie Polly has survived that attack from Schecter and will stay in P3 for the time being. Ollie's not completely knocked out of this fight, but that certainly hurt him. Philly Wool is now having an attempt on Moju for P7. Lenny TBD might as well get off them tyres and try something different, because it's really not working for him. Russell has retired from the Grand Prix. But it is a battle and a half heating up for P3. Ollie Polly, Schecter, Sonics, Dougie Afroman not too far behind either. Philly Wool is looking for a move on Moju here. Lenny TBD was unable to do it. Is Philly Wool going to be able to do anything as we run into turn 4? Moju goes wide. Philly senses an opportunity, but the door is closed in his face. He's definitely looking like the stronger of the two drivers here at the moment. Moju looks a little bit swamped. Doing well, though. It's a very tricky track to make your debut at, and he's really making the two Northern Irish boys work for it. If they want P7, they're going to have to pull off something very special to get past him. So on the start-finish straight, we can see Schecter is all over the back of Ollie Polly coming into turn 1. Nothing doing on that occasion. Anything into turn 2. It looks like he is too far back now, so lost a little bit of time through turn 1. But Ollie Polly's looking in quite a lot of danger here at the moment. He's really struggled in this phase of the Grand Prix, just falling away from him. And the safety of that TBD 1-2 is just sort of disintegrating. Schecter looking the most comfortable he has looked in a series for some time. Really suiting his driving style, this Red Bull. And he's on to challenge for a podium today. Trying to give it everything he has in the battle against Ollie Polly. Oh, speak of the devil, Ollie Polly gets on that grass, makes a huge mistake and spins off. He's going to drop all the way back to 5th, and he's actually going to be under a lot of pressure for 6th as Dougie Afroman goes by, and down into P6 goes Ollie Polly. That could potentially be race ending for him. He needs to try something different here as there's a little bit of lag going on there. I thought he had an airplane accident too, don't worry about it. Philly Wool manages to get the job done on Moju and gets past him up into P7 then for the first of the Northern Irishmen. I don't think Lenny TBD really has the tyres, as now everyone's guaranteed a point as 7's retires as well. Best qualifying of the season, didn't really make a difference for Robomoose today. So Ollie Polly makes a lot of mistakes in the space of 2 laps, and he goes from 2nd to 6th. Just shows you how fine the margins are at Brands Hatch. Murgiu's coming back at Philly World though. He's not letting him exactly get away with it. Checked for running P3 ahead of Sonics and Dougie Afroman. Wally Polly trying to redeem himself. But that's not how you redeem himself. Another mistake then for the Norwegian. Really, really struggling to get a grip of this circuit. Speaking of which, I think Moju has just made a similar mistake trying to catch Philly Wool. And we see the first of the pit stops. Dougie Afroman and Ollie Polly are the first men into the pits. We've been speaking about a very powerful undercut the entire time. Now, it's only a short fuel stop for Dougie Afroman. He only puts 8 litres in and away he goes. Even shorter fuel for Ollie Polly. So these guys are entirely focused on an undercut here to get themselves back in the Grand Prix. This isn't a long fuel stop by any means. And they just want to get some new tyres to really, really maximise their pace and try get out of this dirty air and get going again. But Ayrton Spencer, I think our race leader, has had a drama. What happened here? Oh, he just gets on that outside curb, goes for a spin, shows nobody is invincible at this circuit. Brands Hatch plays no favourites. He's got enough of a buffer though to keep going, and he will use that opportunity to get into the pits and get some fresh boots on. Van Zer 7 makes a very late call to copy the race leader's strategy. We get flashbanged by the change of camera there. As we can see, it is a long fuel stop for Ayrton Spencer. He's going for the big fuel stop the first time round. Sonics now leads to Grand Prix, so it won't be Grand Chelem, I don't think, for Ayrton Spencer, unless Sonics pits or passes him at some point on this lap. Van Zer 7 gets going. He has dramatically decreased the gap by not fueling, and here's that undercut we was talking about. Scheckter has managed to get out on the circuit, but Dougie Afroman and Ollie Polly aren't a million miles away, so we said that the undercut was powerful. It's not been too powerful for those guys here today. Sonics is in the lead, but he's yet to pit, and he's on very worn tyres, so expect to see this hounding from Ayrton Spencer continue for quite some time. The American, he said this is his least favourite track on the calendar. Wonder if he ever thought he saw himself leading today. Albeit under different circumstances, I'm sure he would have hurt. We've seen someone go for a spin. It is Moju. So let's find out what happened to him. So here we are, coming into turn 4. We just can't slow down. And we get stuck on that outside grass, and around we go. And this is another man who's yet to pit, so these worn tyres really playing havoc with the drivers here so far. And a penalty for Moju as well. So, Sonics pits, Ayrton Spencer retakes the lead, and Van Zer 7 up into second. Scheckter will come out in P3, Sonics P4, and behind him is this battle of Ollie Polly and Dougie Afroman. We can't actually ride on board with Sonics apparently. That's interesting, but he's not too far ahead, just know that. He's not too far ahead of Dougie Afroman, there we go. So the undercut has definitely brought Dougie Afroman and Ollie Polly into the grasp of the Sonics, so Sonics has waited a little bit too long to pit on that occasion. Moju pits though, the last of the pit stops. And I think Lenny TBD might undercut him here. We'll see. Out comes Moju out of the pit lane. Where's Lenny TBD coming across the start-finish line now? Moju goes through turn 1. Lenny TBD hot in pursuit there. So no undercut, but it's definitely brought him into the battle. Ollie Polly chasing down Dougie Afroman. Not the car I'm sure he saw himself battling, but a few mistakes put Ollie Polly back into the midfield battle. But these guys aren't a million miles away, as we are getting all kinds of funky lag. I think Ollie Polly is suffering some connection issues tonight. Really starting to look a little bit laggy on the circuit. I'm sure that won't be something that Dougie Afroman wants to see in his mirrors, as we can see two cars very, very close. It's Lenny TBD and Moju, actually. Moju goes off the circuit, making a mistake. Lenny TBD, can he capitalise on that? Doesn't look like it on this occasion, but these guys are super close. Moju makes another little mistake. Lenny TBD is all over him now, all over the wildcard entry. Mojo TBD makes another mistake. Oh, Lenny TBD, contact between the two. Big contact. Is Lenny able to hold on to it? Yes, he is. Oh, and then there's further contact. Lenny gets reset for being too far off the circuit and loses an absolute monstrous amount of time to Moju. he'll be absolutely furious. Meanwhile, the next closest battle is Ollie Polly and Dougie Afroman going at it once again. Through Dingle, there we come. Very close between these two at the moment. We ride him on with the very laggy Norwegian. Maybe that's not the best idea. Ollie Polly, I can't tell if he's making mistakes or he's definitely having some kind of internet issue because he's all over the road. So Ayrton Spencer leads from Avanza 7, who's gone! Avanza 7's gone! Where does that put him in relation to his teammate? His teammate's going to be very close behind. Big mistake once again. Under pressure. Can we have the replay, please? GT Sport. There we go. So here we are. We're coming out of turn 2. And it just looks as he gets excited by seeing the purple. Gets on that curb a bit too much, on the power too early. And around he goes into the wall. He'll be thanking his lucky stars that there's no damage. But that's going to hurt his tyres. It's going to put him back into the clutches of Schechtefer, his teammate behind. Someone I'm sure he wasn't wanting to battle more than once today. Moju's had an accident as well. So this is quite far back, so the replay hasn't really worked. If we get back quick enough, we might be able to fix that. And he's still having dramas, is Moju. So he just lost it by himself. We caught the very, very end of it. He just gets on that outside curb. And he's really just struggling to get going again. And that's what has brought Moju down into 10th place. And he retires from the Grand Prix. So Moju, the wildcard entry, drops out on lap 15. Ollie Polly has somewhere made a move, but Dougie Afroman sends one back down the inside. Now Ollie Polly will retake that and says, thank you very much. You've got to be a bit faster than that to catch Ollie Polly napping. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. So Ollie Polly went down the inside of turn 1. Dougie Afroman sensed an opportunity to get back in front. He sent a very late move, all locked up for both of them. Contact between the two. Ollie Polly pulls off the switchback and away he goes. So the battle is on for 5th place. Okay, that's some lag. Wow, woo! I thought we had a massive accident for Ollie Polly once again, but he's got away with it because there wasn't any incident, just a bit of lag. Schechtefer could be on for a career best position of P2 here if he can beat his teammate here today. Regardless, this is a fantastic result for Diamante Nero, who are taking full advantage of only one ART driver being here. Sonic kind of in a no man's land. Ollie Polly will see if he can catch back up. Still some pit stops to go, I'm sure. Dougie Afroman runs P6, Philly Wool P7, then Lenny TBD P8, and Skull TBD has had a drama somewhere as well. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. So coming into turn 4, just misses his braking point, goes straight on into... Ooh, saves it from the barrier. And a quick little flick spin, and he'll get underway again. So bit of a mistake here for Skull TBD, but he is guaranteed at least 2 points if he continues racing. So I'm proud of him to keep going despite everything going wrong for Team ISR today. Especially when it goes wrong twice in the same lap. It's been a wounding race for Skull TBD so far today. I'm sure the pride will have taken a little bit of a dent from that one, but he is capable of good results. Just Brands Hatch. It's such a monstrous track. It really does separate the men from the boys here, especially at these speeds. We've not been at these speeds since the 80s, and probably for a good reason around this track. Really putting the drivers through the paces today. Only the fittest are surviving. Skull TBD into the pits. The first man to stop for the second time today. Will this trigger a knock-on effect? He'll definitely be out of sync with the others. So Ayrton Spencer leads from Avanza 7, from Schechtefer, from Sonics. Ollie Polly will ride up in 5th. Behind him is Dougie Afroman in 6th. Philly Wool will trot around in 7th place. Lenny TBD 8th, and then it's Skull TBD bringing up the pack in 9th. Now let's talk a little bit about gaps and tyre strategy, because although the racing has quieted down a little bit, there's still a lot to think about coming into this Grand Prix. So The gaps are quite substantial. They're about 3 seconds apiece, but that's probably the amount of time you want between yourself and another car to avoid dirty air. So the actual closest gaps is this battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Which Vanzo 7 leads that battle from his teammate Schechter. Behind him is Sonics, who's not too far behind. And then 5 seconds behind him, it's Ollie, who's 5 seconds ahead of Dougie Afroman. So any one of these guys could pit early and trigger a whole domino effect. Vanzo leads that battle, like we say. It's personal best from Schechter. Sonics looks like he's catching. I'll tell you who is catching. Ollie Polly and Dougie Afroman are added once again, because it looks like there's been a mistake for Ollie Polly, because he's dropped a whole heap of time. Now Dougie Afroman is all behind the TBD Sport Norwegian, and he's going to look for some sort of move into the next right-hander, I'm sure. Is he going to be close enough, though? He has all the slipstream. It's very dangerous to make a move there. He's got to bide his time. He tries to sell the dummy. Does it work? Doesn't really. Ollie Polly is able to see through that and keep going, but he does make a little mistake on the outside curb. Dougie Afroman has very, very little fuel left. Both of these guys have very little fuel left because of that undercut strategy that they went for. So these guys really don't have a lot to battle with. I'm sure Dougie wants to continue this battle, but he's got to think about pitting very, very shortly. Is that what he's going to do? Yes, it is. So the undercut attempt once again. He's going to stick to his cards and go again. So Dougie Afroman comes into the pits for his 2nd stop of the day. He'll get some new tyres and some fuel. It'll likely be a long fuel stop so he can go for a bit further. But he's trying to undercut Ollie Polly, who needs to have a good in-lap if he's pitting this lap to try avoid this undercut attempt. The ART puts on a lot of fuel, gets going. He puts exactly 50 litres of fuel in to go for a bit longer, but he comes out behind Philly Wool, so he hinders himself in that fuel stop by coming out in some dirty air. So that could play into dividends and actually really help Ollie Polly. Will we see the race leader pit? No, we won't. Will we see 2nd place pit? I wonder. A lot of these guys long fuel stops, apart from Schechter. So Vanzo continues. Speaking of which, has Schechter pitted or made a mistake? I think he's made a mistake and we've missed it somewhere. How long ago was it? It was a long time ago, so Schechter's made a mistake. That has promoted Sonics into P3. He's going to take the opportunity to pit. Schechter continues despite having lower fuel. And Ollie Polly continues. Philly Wool's made a mistake. Moju leaves the room, but he was already out of the Grand Prix. Bit of a mistake there for Philly Wool. We'll see if we can find out what happened. Oh, just getting on the outside, and that cures Dougie Afroman's dirty air problem real quick. So Ollie Polly is in to respond to that undercut attempt from Dougie Afroman. Now the key is, I don't think Ollie Polly has to put as much fuel in as Dougie because he had more, but that's irrelevant. That is absolutely irrelevant. Look how powerful that undercut is from Dougie Afroman. He's continued going. Very interesting strategy from Ollie Polly to go onto the soft compound tyre here. That's not something I was expecting. And Spencer pits. This will probably mean we see a Vanzo in the pits as well. No, he's going to continue. Is he even able to interfere with Ayrton Spencer's plans here today? No, he's not. He'll stay behind him. Now, Schechter will be the one to pit to try overcut Sonics, but that undercut was so powerful. Dougie Afroman gained 8 seconds on Ollie Polly, so unless Ollie Polly had a very, very messy in-lap, that has helped him massively. Ed in the chat saying, a shocking lack of green boys again. The green boys were here. They actually scored the best qualifying of the season, and then they didn't even survive turn 1. So they were out very, very quickly. Now, Schechter's coming out of the pits here with 100 litres of fuel. So he is fully fueled up. I don't think Schechter wants to pit for fuel again this race. So at the halfway mark, he's put a full tank in. So we'll probably see some tyre stops towards the end as we see Philly Wool and Lenny TBD going at it. Are they both going to pit? Yes, they are. So the battle of the pit stops between Philly Wool and Lenny TBD. It's really all going to be about who puts the most fuel in. So Philly Wool had 3 litres, Lenny TBD had 7. Skull is still going, so he'll try undercut these guys. I'm not sure who's going to come out first in this battle. It's Lenny TBD. So Lenny goes for the fuel undercut, and he's able to get past. Interesting. So Schecterfair was unable to overcut, or even come close to overcutting Sonics. He remains in P4. Dougie Aframan comfortably now in P5 as Ollie TBD, Ollie Polly, has gone onto the soft compound of tyre. Really not sure what the strategy is. I mean, he's setting personal bests. Are these tyres the better race tyre? We've never even considered the secondary compound as being competitive, but Ollie clearly thinks there is. We'll see what he can do with these tyres. Maybe he's just going to try a one-stop so he doesn't have to pit again. Regardless, it's a very interesting strategy as Philly Wool goes off the circuit. What happened there? I think it was a minor accident, but he's held on to it. Just goes a little bit deep, gets on there, and off into the sand he goes, but luckily he doesn't spin. He'll just continue as if nothing happened. So Ayrton Spencer leads from Avanza 7 from Sonics. Now, interesting thing here, Avanza 7 is coming up to turn 4. Sonics is quite a way back, but Avanza has a very heavy fuel stop coming up. So we'll see. I'm not sure. I'm not confident that Sonics is going quick enough to be a threat to him once that comes. But it'd be very valuable information for Sonics to have. Excuse me. Right, okay. So Sonics is actually coming up to some traffic here. So this could interfere. The gaps are fairly spread out, but that's because so many people are off sync in their pit stops, actually. Because Avanza 7 needs to pit once more. Is he going to do it this lap? No, he's going to continue. So he's just going to run that fuel tank dry as we are over the halfway mark. Sonic's still looking to get past that traffic. He's had several blue flags now. He's not right behind him, but the dirty air might be affecting him, especially if he's trying to undercut someone who's due a heavy fuel stop. He'll need to make the most of the free air that he can, and he's just not been able to do that so far. Because of this man. Skull TVD obviously doesn't feel like Sonics is close enough to let him pass. So Ollie is gaining on Dougie Aframan on the soft compound of tyre. So on the harder compound, Ollie is going faster than Dougie Aframan on the super soft. Could Ollie have just unveiled a ace in the hole, you know, that we weren't really aware about? He certainly looks more comfortable. Now here's this heavy fuel stop for Avanza 7 we was expecting. Sonics has only just cleared the blue flag car in the middle sector. He's not even going to be within the same postcode, I don't think, of Avanza 7 when this fuel stop is over. He'll certainly hope to be, but I don't think he'll be challenging for P2 today. I think that's locked away unless, you know, Avanza 7 throws it away or something. Out of the pits he comes, and yeah, no, it's not even close. Avanza's been able to get a full tank of fuel and just go to the end. So that seems to be the Diamante Nero strategy, is just fill her up and go to the end on the same tank. Ollie Polly's lost a little bit of time now to Dougie Aframan, but Dougie Aframan has made a mistake. He survives for now. Let's see what happened. So coming into Dingledale. It's all going well into the next corner. Hooks it up on the inside, just gets on the grass on the outside. Almost has an astronomical crash, but gets away with it for another day. Could have been a lot worse. Here is Schechter for lapping. Skull TBD. As Ayrton Spencer dominating another Grand Prix, something he's getting so good at, and he's still going faster. It almost feels unfair to the rest of the competition every time we watch this man, because you just watch him and you think, how does he get his car to do that? On for a fastest lap improvement here. I'm sure he'll want to. He's had a spin already though, so he's not been invincible today. but he's certainly looked the part. And I'm sure this has been a very, very hot Grand Prix for a lot of these drivers, I can imagine, especially those on the wheels will be working up a sweat right now. I'm really not certain on this Ollie Poly strategy. I'm not sure why he's thought the softs are the better tyre here. Obviously something's led him to believe that these softs are a lot better than the super softs, but I can't put my finger in what that is. Regardless, it was a very messy first few laps. I'm sure we'll see some steward reports about that sort of thing. Because it was very aggressive, very bumpy, and we'll see who's doing what. Of course, you can find out all the decisions of the stewards and that sort of thing on the ISR Twitter page, if you follow that. Facebook page too. Find us at ISR Online on both of those. We'll keep you up to date with everything going on. Now, whatever Ollie Poly's doing, he is catching Dougie, and then he drops off again. I'm just not sure that has been the play. Now, this is an interesting sight. Ollie Poly is about to get lapped by his race-leading teammate, Ayrton Spener. Now, the reason I say that's interesting is because obviously Spener will be wanting him to get out of the way sooner rather than later, but Ollie potentially could use his teammate lapping to close up and pass Dougie Afroman. If you've seen Max Verstappen at Monaco, I think it was 2015, he did something very similar. Traffic is a brute on this circuit. And Ollie Poly not letting his teammate by yet. He desperately tries to catch the Scotsman. Scotsman? Scotsman. I'm sure that Scotsman is a fan of Scotch, but doesn't make him a Scotsman. Oh, Ollie Poly almost has a major, major incident. Of course, the racing soft tyres really don't have that much grip compared to the supers. And here's Dougie Afroman into the pits for another stop. Really been short fuel in this race as Dougie Afroman. He's been putting in as little fuel as he deems necessary. It's kind of hard to believe he's used up 50 litres already. But into the pits he goes again. Will he be doing a full commit to the end of the Grand Prix? He's put 76 litres in, so you would imagine that's going to carry him. That's potentially Dougie Afroman's final stop of the Grand Prix. It will be a little bit like driving on ice towards the end. But let's talk about pit strategy. Ayrton Spener needs to pit. Sonics needs to pit. I don't think Scheckter does. I think Scheckter will get to the end. Ollie might. I'm really not sure if Ollie will get to the end. That's going to be close. Dougie definitely will. Lenny probably won't. Philly probably won't. And Skull TBD definitely will. So it's come down to fuel. There's a battle here, but is it just cars being lapped? Yes, it is. Okay. So fuel is going to decide this race for the majority of the positions, I think. Because with Sonic needing to pit, I mean, Ayrton Spener needs to pit, but I mean, I don't think he needs to worry about it. With 10 laps to go, I don't think he needs to put that much fuel in that he slows down. And Ollie Poly does pit. Does he want to get back on the supers? That's the only reason I can imagine he pits. Instead of trying to go to the end. How much fuel is he putting in? Because he doesn't need to put a lot. He puts in a bit. Now, Dougie Afroman goes by. And then there's going to be an ISR car separating them. So, Ollie Poly has a blue flag car to pass, and then he's got 10 laps to hunt down Dougie Afroman, if he can. It'll be a 10-lap battle to the death between them two. Ayrton Spener will likely pit on this lap, but he's not going to need to put in that much fuel, so he's not under pressure from Avanza remotely. Sonics is staying out there. He's not going to be able to go to the end on this. So, Scheckter for pits. No, that's interesting. Scheckter has pitted. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I was really not expecting that. Not expecting a pit stop from Scheckter whatsoever. But Ayrton Senna pits, like we said he needed to. Now, why has Scheckter pitted? He was on to take third place away from Sonics, but he's going to double commit and go with the undercut there. Ollie Polly is gaining massively on Dougie Aframan. He's getting a second on this lap alone. So Dougie feeling a little bit of pressure. Sonics will be the next man to pit. It's only him, Philly and Lenny left to make the final pit stops of the day. I'm interested, but this is an interesting strategy from Scheckter. I mean, he would have been under pressure towards the end, but track position is very important at this circuit. So he would have been able to defend quite easily, I'd imagine, from Sonics. But here we go then. Let's get ready for the final showdown of 10 laps. So we're going to have a splash dash battle to the finish, because here comes Sonics. He needs to put a fair bit of fuel in, 10 laps worth, and he needs to put some new tyres on. Now his compatriot, Scheckter, has done this the lap before. Now Scheckter could have gone to the end on fuel, so he likely just put on new tyres. So while Sonic needs to stop and wait for them to put that fuel in, Scheckter is gunning it. Now Scheckter's coming out of the final corner. They've still not released Sonic, so Scheckter will take P3 away from Sonics with... Oh! Dougie Aframan makes a mistake in the crucial battle for 5th towards the end of the Grand Prix. That is a big, big mistake from the Scotsman. And what happened? He just overcommits into this corner, feeling the pressure from Ollie Polly, touches it just an inch and it unsettles him to get a second helping of grass, and off he goes and drops down into P6. Now, tables are reversed. Can he do anything to get back past Ollie Polly? He will do if Ollie Polly keeps doing things like that. Ollie Polly makes a mistake straight away after. Lenny TVD in for his final stop of the day. We'd imagine we'd see Philly Wool copying him not too long later. Now, Ayrton Senna leads on lap 32 from Avanzo 7. Scheckter is undercut heaven past Sonics to take the final spot on the podium and make it a Diamantine Era double podium. He'll want to stay like that to the end. Ollie Polly has recovered into P5 ahead of Dougie Aframan, who made that crucial mistake in his defence against Ollie Polly. Those two were going to be battling to the end of the race, and Dougie's kind of ended the battle prematurely there because he got on the grass and made a mistake. Now this race has been a real test of endurance for these drivers. It really, really has, because you have to be so perfect every single lap when you drive in this circuit at this sort of speed. And Ayrton Senna has coped brilliantly as he comes to set another fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And there you go, shaves off his time by a 10th. So this man has done 33 laps of this and he's still finding time. There was no way anyone was going to beat him today, was there? Let's be real! Speaking of beating, Avanzo 7, has he gone off? Is this lag? What's happened to Avanzo 7? It is just lag, thank goodness for that. I thought Avanzo 7 had gone. I really, really did. So 8 laps to go. And a battle between Scheckter and Sonic starting to heat up. They've got to clear the back marker of Philly Wool. Gets out of the way nicely. Scheckter through. Does he let Sonics through as easily? Of course he does. Yeah, gentleman approach. Great effort from Philly Wool. So Scheckter is 1.3 ahead. Avanzo is lagging like an absolute monster. We'll stay away from that. 1.3 seconds is the gap coming on to lap 33. 7 laps between them. About 7 minutes of racing they've got. And Avanzo 7 disconnects! Avanzo 7 disconnects on lap 33 of 40. His best result of the season has just gone. No way. Connection issues. We said he was lagging very badly. We avoided going on board with him to give him as much internet bandwidth as we could. But Avanzo's internet dies at the worst possible moment. He will be absolutely devastated, and suddenly these two are battling for second place. Now 18 points is a lot of points. This will be Scheckter's career best finished in the ISR series. If he can take this second place, Sonics will be hungry for another second place, because that's probably the best he can do to get himself the most amount of points ahead of Chiller Killer, who is not attending today. Ayrton Senna, 6 laps to go. Scheckter looking comfortable in P2 right now, but anything can change as they begin their 34th lap of the British Grand Prix. Scheckter goes a little bit wide. He's got to be a bit more careful than that. Ollie Polly's having some issues. He can't be getting too aggressive because he's still in that battle with Dougie Aframan. Meanwhile, Lenny TVD has lapped Skull TVD. Thought that was a battle. Oh no! Scheckter is the next to make the big mistake, and he throws away his career best finish. What happened to Scheckter? Too eager on the throttle, does it all to himself, sends himself to the Shadow Realm, and his career best finish is gone, squandered, and all that hard work from the undercut is absolutely gone. Diamante Nero has thrown it away today, really has. It's not Avanzo's fault for his disconnection, I get it, but Scheckter has thrown that away. Wow, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. I mean, there's still 5 laps for Sonics to return the favour and do a mistake, but I think Sonics will just turn the engine down and chill out a little bit. So that's second place in the bag, and that's the perfect result for him. Dougie Afroman is really running out of grip here, being the first of these cars to pit, obviously. Ayrton Spenner, by the way, this is Sonics. This is Sonics coming through turn 2. This is Ayrton Spenner coming in to turn 2. Ayrton Spenner has lapped everybody into 3rd place. With 4 laps to go, it'll be tough, and I don't think it will happen. But Ayrton Spenner is only 1 car away from lapping the entire grid here tonight. And if that doesn't show you how incredibly fast this man has been, I don't know what will. Because these aren't necessarily slow drivers. You know, there's been races where Sonics, where Ollie Polly, Avanza 7, they have beaten Ayrton Spenner on occasion. But he's just been on a whole other level tonight. He really has. He has really taken on the body of Ayrton's. Oh, commentators cursing him. Oh, I don't think he'll lap the entire field now. Scheckter goes, there you go, mate. Keep going. I got you. And we really did put the commentator's curse on Ayrton Spenner there. He gets away with it, though. There is a battle, and I think that is Scheckter desperately trying to follow Ayrton Spenner to take his 2nd place back. I don't think we're going to see it somehow. He's trying, though. It's a good tactic. He thinks if he can follow Ayrton Spenner, the fastest man on the circuit, he'll be able to just cruise up to the back of Sonics. And when Ayrton Spenner inevitably laps him, he'll be able to pass him. The trouble is, Sonics is a long way up the road. And Ayrton Spenner is on quite worn-out tyres, and I'm sure he'll just be cruising it safely to get to the end of the Grand Prix without issue. 3 laps to go here at Brands Hatch, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but we watched to see if Ayrton Spenner is able to lap the entire field. Through Sector 3 we come. Sonics is on the start-finish straight. Spenner's closing. Scheckter's falling off. He can't keep up this level of pace that Ayrton Spenner has. 2 laps to go here in Kent, England, the United Kingdom. And Ayrton Spenner could be the first man in, I want to say, ISR history to lap the entire field. Sonics is the only man stopping this guy from breaking records, just like he does every single day. A real maestro on the Gran Turismo Sport game. Really looking unstoppable with 3 potential victories in a row with 2 laps to go. Traffic getting away of Scheckter's plans here. Like I say, I think Sonics is just... He can tell there, he goes slower, he's 1.8 off his personal best. He just doesn't want to throw it into a spin like Scheckter did and throw away that 2nd. So he's just taking it nerdy steady, but that means Ayrton Spenner is able to push hard and try catch up to overtake Sonics to lap the field. And Sonics is being shown the blue flag, ladies and gentlemen. With 2 laps to go, Ayrton Spenner is closing up to Sonics to lap the entire grid. Will Sonics fight it? This is a record here for Ayrton Spenner. I can't believe this is what it's come to. I mean, the blue flags are getting more and more intense. Ayrton Spence surely is going to lap the entire grid here. He actually doesn't have a lot of fuel left. He's been pushing that hard. He has, like, no fuel left. He's going to have to really conserve on the final lap. Sonic's in letting him pass. They don't want him to break this record. Sonic's is a bit nervous, I think, about losing time to Schecter during all of this, actually. Oh, he's still not letting him through. I think they both realise what's at stake here. Ayrton Spence, not a lot of fuel to get this done. He's going to have a lap to do it. Sonic's really doesn't want to be lapped here by Ayrton Spence, and he's turned the fuel up himself. Imagine if this forces Sonic's into an error. He should just let him... I mean, this is a record. I get why he doesn't want to do it, but, I mean, he's putting himself under unnecessary pressure. He's battling the fastest guy on the track by far. He doesn't need to put that kind of pressure on his shoulders. Because he's so close to the limit that he could just make a mistake and throw it away to Schecter, who you can still see is in the background. The final lap to go. Ayrton Spence desperately trying to lap the entire field here with what fuel he has left. Sonic says no way to your Jose. Ayrton Spence looks so much more comfortable, looking to try find something around the outside. Ayrton Spence searching for it, and he's gone through! He's done it! Ayrton Spence laps the entire field of the British Grand Prix on the final lap, the final time of asking. What an absolute dominant display here. Look how much that means to him. He's so happy that he manages to pull it off. Up to the line, Ayrton Spence. It's a hat-trick of wins in Britain. He wins the British Grand Prix ahead of Sonic's. And Schecter will bring home his first podium of the season. Ollie Polly has gone off on the final lap. That doesn't really affect his battle with Dougie Afroman too much. It's very low on fuel though, so he can't really burn too much. Ollie Polly is weaving. He seems quite happy about it. He don't want to weave too much though, or he'll spin himself out. But he will come to take P4. Could have been a TBD 1-2, but Ollie Polly was prone to errors today. He'll come home in P4. Dougie Afroman will come home in P5. Mr. Consistency. Lenny TBD will not be happy with the performance today. Qualified really well, caught up in an incident almost immediately. He'll come home to round off the grid in 6th place, as we have 8 finishers as Avanza 7 DNFs, and will only take home 2 points here today, ladies and gentlemen. That has been your British Grand Prix, and it's this man with his 3rd win in 3 races. Fantastic job, ladies and gentlemen. Great racing once again. Ayrton Spence sets a record of lapping the entire field. He'll be very, very happy with that, I'm sure. The first time that's been done in the ISR. What a record. What a way to take your hat-trick of victories. The British Grand Prix has been an absolute monstrous one. These guys have really had to work their socks off to keep this thing on the circuit. Fantastic racing. Next time out, we travel to Austria for the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring. I'm sure they'll be very excited to get underway there, and then we go to our first oval of the season, the race after that. Some very exciting races to come. You don't want to miss it. Remember, stay tuned to ISR on Facebook and Twitter, as well as Gaming Now on YouTube for all your information. I've been Toby. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.